Welcome to Have Cheetah Will Watch, episode number 2. It's a cold and snowy Sunday, and so let's get right into it, shall we? So last week we talked about War Arrow, and I thought for this episode we stay out in the Old West and talk about another movie from this collection, and we were talking about Whispering Smith, starring Alan Ladd and Robert Preston. So the movie starts off with a real bang, literally. Alan Ladd does play Luke Whispering Smith, an agent for the railroad, and he goes around and he fixes, he troubleshoots for the railroad when things get really thick. He's ambushed by the Fenton brothers who try to kill him within the first 5 minutes of the movie, and only succeeded in killing his horse. That sort of sucks. Anyway, back on the train, we meet Murray Sinclair, who's played by Robert Preston, and he finds out that his best friend, Whispering Smith, is coming, or Smitty as he calls him, and he's going to come and help them out because the train line is being besieged by trouble. So, and it looks like more trouble's ahead when they spot a fire in front of the engine. As the train slows down, we find out it's just a diversion to get the train to slow so Whispering Smith himself can jump on the train. He and Murray have a great big reunion. They're best friends, and and they talk and catch up. And as they do this, they roll into a train stop where they run into those same Barton brothers, and they have a shootout where Luke kills two of the brothers, but he himself is shot. Is lucky to be alive as the bullet hit his harmonica that Murray had given him. Uh, After he's wounded, Murray has him taken to his ranch, and where he's tended to by Murray's wife Marion. And we see that Marion and Luke had once had a fling, or definitely a attraction to each other, but he was more dedicated to his job and he left, and Marion ended up marrying Murray. Um, so as he recovers, he notices that Murray has a great big ranch, and Murray is very proud of it and tells Luke all about it. Uh, Luke knows how much money that Murray makes as a railroad employee, and he's starting to get a bad feeling about things. Uh, Meanwhile, we find out that Murray's become friends with the local land baron in the area, Barney Rebstock, and that's not good because Rebstock's not a nice guy, and he has a hired gunslinger named Whitey Dusang at his beck and call. So uh, it shows that Luke getting better, and him and Marion get reacquainted, and on a very platonic level. I mean, Luke is very respectful of his friend and his marriage, and he wants their marriage to succeed. But Marion tells him that Murray's been changing slowly but surely, and sure enough, Luke starts to see it as well. Um, when when Murray's caught basically looting a train after it had been derailed, the railroad fires Murray and pushes him to become allies with Redstock. And this brings him head to head with Luke, who has to come back to try to save his friend before he goes too far. If he doesn't get out of the way of out of Rebstock's clutches, it could come up to a really bad end and put him face to face with Whispering Smith. Um, so this is actually a really good movie. Actually, I really enjoyed it quite a bit. Start Alan Ladd, like I said, as Luke Smith, Whispering Smith, and Alan Ladd was a really good actor, very underrated, um, but he also was very undersized, which hurt him a lot. Um, because he is only 5'6". He was like the original Tom Cruise, I guess. Tons of talent, but he's just very short in stature. In many of his movies, they had to use what they call apple boxes, which Alan Ladd would have to stand on in order to do his scenes to make it appear that he was larger than a lot of his leading ladies who were taller than he was. He also struggled with finding roles after his heyday, and he developed a pretty bad drinking problem, and that forced for studios not to want to work with him. So he was forced to go to Italy to do a lot of what they call sand and sandal movies. And in 1964, he came back to live in Palm Springs, where he accidentally OD'd on booze and alcohol. Robert Preston, who played his best friend Murray Sinclair, was a big, rugged individual and really strong presence on the screen. Almost dominant. Him and Alan Ladd really worked well together. A yin and yang. And of course, Robert Preston, many folks might remember him more than anything else as being the star of The Music Man, which was a very delightful movie and garnered him great praise. Brenda Marshall played Marion Sinclair, the woman caught between the two, and she had her career actually ended pretty short, really. She got married to William Holt in 1941, but by 1950 she was pretty much done in the movies. She raised a family. Her and William Holden were actually married somewhat stormily for 30 years before they divorced in 1971. The supporting cast included William Demarest, who played Uncle Charlie on My Three Sons. He played Bill, and Donald Crisp played Barney Repstock, who his career was very dignified. Of course, back then these westerns were considered, they weren't considered odors as the ones in the 50s and 60s. This had a lot of money behind it, and a lot of star power. Donald Crisp was an Oscar winner in 1942 for a supporting actor for How Green Was My Valley. The movie was written by Frank Spearman and directed by Leslie Fenton. Leslie Fenton was an actor before he became a director. He did a ton of movies before he directed. He did about 19 films. He directed 19 films between 1938 and 1951. So this movie was solid. Action was good. For 1948, it was pretty graphic as far as showing the blood. Of course, the good guys were white and the black guys were black. I mean, you could definitely tell who was the good guy, who wasn't. Though Murray did sort of redeem himself at the end of the movie a little bit. It was a noble way to go. Pretty sad though. Thought the chemistry among the whole cast was solid. This movie ran for an hour and 30 minutes. Because it's on the collection, there's no special features on there. One other note about Alan Ladd Jr., his son, became studio head for, I believe it was MGM. I could double check on that. So he followed his father's footsteps in the showbiz. So that's this movie here. That's what we finished talking about. I never know how to end these reviews online or on video. So I hope you liked it. And if you've seen Whispering Smith, leave a comment below. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell button, leave a comment, and glad to have you. And we'll see you next week for another installment. And until then, we'll see you on the midnight hour every Sunday, starting at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And thanks for watching. Until next time, peace.